It's another day, it's a wet day, and I've got to get the trailer done today. So that means I've got to strip the old paint and I've got to put the new paint on. It is taking way too long to get this done. The front is all fresh, all new. That's great. I've just taken out all of the kill rollers, as you can see. And next, I'm gonna mask up all these little reflector things because I can't be bothered drilling them out and putting them back on. We're gonna get rid of any of the old paint that is lingering around, and then we're gonna give it a quick paint job. Doesn't have to be perfect. It is just a boat trailer. What are we using today? Let's come over here. So what I've got is a few different things. We've got an etch primer, so that's going to go down before the paint. We've got black zinc. It's in a satin color because nobody wants to have a gloss trailer. If you do, I don't know what you're thinking. And the last thing is on any rusty bits, we've got a rust converter. Now I have gotten rid of most of the rust in this trailer by cutting out and putting in new steel, so we won't have to use much of that. I've already used the rust converter on the axle here, so it was a little bit surfacey rust, and I've done that maybe 2 weeks ago now. It's taken quite a while to get back to it, but I was a little bit lazy and I sprayed it directly on top of the rust just to see how well it would go. You can see it's a little bit bumpy and might be a bit flaky, so I might just give that a quick sand off and then hit it again. And because I'm planning on painting the side of the boat, or possibly just putting on some wraps and some stickers, I really don't want the boat to be scratching up on the side of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip this off, and I'm going to put some marine carpet in there just to make it a nice soft padding, but it's going to be a lot thinner. So I'm going to get about another 5 mil by doing that. The last things I need to do is fix up the registration plate holder, get a new light for the registration plate because that is busted. I've got some new caps for the poles. I've decided to keep these lights on here, even though they have had a crack in the past on the bottom, but I will put some new silicone on there because the silicone hasn't held very well. At the front of the boat, we've got a kill roller that's holding the front of the boat nice and sturdy. The back of the boat does sit really nice in the back there with the kill roller in the middle, so it doesn't have a lot of roll side to side, but I just want to get the front roll side to side sorted out. So I'm going to weld in a couple little tabs on the side with a hole in it, which will allow me to put in a ratchet strap, and I can ratchet each side down just nice and firm so it won't roll side to side. It's a rainy day and I've had to squish everything into the shed. We've got my kayak, which is just being used as it's just to hold everything else at the moment. We've got a boat, then we've got the boat trailer, and yeah, so I've really just pushed my luck with the space that I have in here, but I'm making do. Can't paint in the rain. Enough talking, let's get into the sanding and get rid of all this old paint. Rightio, so like I was saying just before, let's get these pulled off so we can get to the painting, and then we'll put some nice marine carpet on there just to help with the loading and unloading of the boat. That should come off now. Might come in useful for something. Come on. There you are. We'll get this off. We'll use these two tabs for up the front for tie down points. You might be wondering why I'm not using the angle grinder. That is a very good question. Maybe I just like doing things the hard way. I bought this thing like ages ago. It's just a tiny weenie, probably a crap one, but we'll give it a go. Well, that's a bit hectic. It's not even on straight. All right, ready for welding. Ooh, all right, first tabby's welded on. Now, I just want to show you something. This is the first thing I've ever welded, like this trailer, right? So I just want to show, when I first started, this was my very first weld that I ever did. You can see it's not great. You know, I actually, this part here, I redid it, you know, went over it again, and you can see I was running too fast and it wasn't as hot as it should be, but that is sturdy as. It's not great, but it is sturdy, not coming off. And you know, I've done some welds in the corners here and stuff, you know, just welded up in around here. But it is just to show that if you continue to weld and practice, you do get a lot better. So you can see this weld here I've just done, it was a lot hotter, and I've got the movement down pat, you know, not a lot more sturdier, and you can see it's a nicer looking weld. And you can see that's going to hold on. It's basically eating into the metal, melting into the metal a lot more. For a person that hasn't done any welding, I can say that it is difficult, but if you look at a lot of tutorials like I did on YouTube, you know, other fellow YouTubers, thank you very much, you can get a lot of tips to help you out. And I'm just proof of that, you know, tips and practice, and you can get better at something. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect at it though, like me, not perfect. All right, let's get the other tab welded on the other side. Oh, alrighty then. I've just finished using the wire wheel and knocked off all of the old paint that was just loose. Hasn't got absolutely everything off, but if it wasn't coming off the wire wheel, I'm leaving it on there. And I'm going to start with an etch primer, just get a single coat down. I haven't masked off anything yet. Let's do the masking first. Let's get into some painting. All right, primer up first. It is pretty cold today, so I'm wondering whether or not I should put these in some warm water, but at the same time, I really can't be bothered. I am over doing this trailer. Oh no! No! We just got the first paint victim. Damn it. Knew it was going to happen eventually. All right, another can down, one can to go, and I think that'll do it. So the paint job's all been done. It's just a quick one. Wasn't going to cut everything back to bare metal. You can see in little bits and pieces here, some old paint there, but it's all been wiped off. So if it wasn't lifting up with a wire brush, it stayed on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm replacing what was on there, the skid style, to just a piece of marine carpet, which will give it about an extra centimetre of clearance and help the boat fit on the trailer a bit better. And I've already cut up a couple pieces of marine carpet. Not anything special, but it's just going to sit across there with a few rivets. Generally, you wouldn't put anything on these, but because it's so close to the boat, I need something to stop it from scratching the side of the boat. Gonna leave it like that for now. If it does seem to be pulling off or whatever, which I don't think it will, then I'll put some more in there. Rightio, time to put in the last roller. Just off camera, I've just put in these other 3 red rollers, gave them a quick little clean up. They were covered in paint from previous times the trailer's been painted, so they're not perfect, but at least now they're nice and red and you can see them. And to be honest, I don't think the red ones are meant to be used for aluminium boats. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that, so I may have to replace these 3 red rollers with a blue roller. I always thought that the blue ones were for the alloy boats, and the red ones were for your fiberglass boats, so they're a lot softer, whereas these ones are a lot harder. All right, pins are in and bent over, so they're not coming out now. Perfect. Oh, it's getting close to finishing absolutely everything on the trailer, and I have realised that I've skipped over on this. It is night time, it's cold, it's winter, and it's dark, and I don't have proper lighting in the shed, but I'm going to try to pull this off, and if I can get it off, I might be able to 3D print one of these and stick it on. So let's see if I can rip this off and print something else to go in there. Just going to have to try to just rip this off. It's almost like it's a one-way. She goes on and swivels on that. All right, let's go and print something and see whether or not it fits onto that. Well, I'm back and we've got a 3D printed jockey wheel handle, and I think it will just fit on. Now, I know you can't see in there, but inside of there is the same sort of hole and grooves that this fit onto, and this hole here is the same size as that bit of metal. So with a little bit of luck, I should be able to just jam this down on top of that pretty hard. So long as I've lined it up properly with these little tabs, it should just slide on there. So it's got to go on an angle a little bit, something like that. And we'll just tap, 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 tap. Doing pretty good. She's good. I need to get a little side skid here, and it's just for tie down purposes. So when I tie the boat down, and you can see when I pull down, we've got a bit of movement there. So the idea is I want to have something that sits in here flat, and that's where I can use these old skids that are pulled off the side of the wheel guards. I won't need this much of it, but I've got some nice blocks of wood. These are very solid. They won't waterlog. We'll get that in there. We'll get that in the right spot, hopefully in a little bit of an offset. So when the boat is off, it'll naturally slope backwards, make it easier for loading. And that'll help it when I tie the trailer down. You'll be able to get a nice sturdy tie down at the front of the trailer, and there'll be no rock in it. There we are. Bob's your uncle. Next step is to get a hole drilled in, and then we can get it in the middle. And we may have to put just a couple of spaces on each side because it is a bit thinner than the current bracket, but I really don't want to be adjusting that bracket. I've done enough welding on this trailer already. Smoking. I'm going to get through the process. I'm not going to film it. We'll just skip to when it's done, all right? Oh, wowee. It has been a while. And behind me is the problem that caused that little while to happen. If you've been sticking with me for the rest of the trailer build, you'll know that when I first started out, I adjusted the boat roller, I adjusted the winch position, but I didn't really take a good look at the condition of the trailer and underneath. Don't even know why I did that. Don't ask me why. But it sent me down the path of cutting this off and replacing it with something new. So during that process, I've done a few other mods to the trailer just to make it a little bit safer for this boat. The boat now sits really nice on the trailer. Let's go and take a look at the trailer, and I'm really happy with it. It's not like a brand new trailer, but it certainly feels like a brand new trailer now. Let's check it out. Moving down from the front, you can see that everything on the front has been completely redone and re-welded. The whole front of the drawbar is new steel. It's been put on there by myself and painted all the way back up to here. I've kept all the original stuff with the exception of the new winch, which is really good to get that boat into the perfect position and hold it nice and snug. I've made a new pipe here, or a post you'd call it, welded that on, and that's now braced on there with these big C-clamps. We've also got the jockey wheel. It used to be on a solid steel plate. I've taken that plate off and it's now on there with some C-clamps so we can adjust it and move it if we need be. All the original chains are back on and welded. The original hitch is back on there. I 3D printed a new handle for this because it was all buggered. That turned out beautifully well. And everything on the front, the whole new drawbar, we've used 3mm thick galvanized steel pipe, 50 by 50. I've opted to change the front just a little bit to allow water to flow out, so there's now no capping. So you can see that there's an area here which will allow that water to flow out. And on the back of the pipe, it's also not been welded flat or shut, so water can't get trapped in there anymore. Moving to the middle section, you can see the new keel roller that I put in. I did leave the original one there. It doesn't really get any use. This new self-centering keel roller is what lifts the front of the boat up. As you can see, it's about 100mm higher. It allows the front of the boat to sit higher, and at the same time allows the boat not to rest on this skid when the trailer's in motion. The dent right here that you can see there, that's where it cracked on the boat because it was resting right on this skid and bouncing where a previous boat aluminium welding repair had been done, so that no longer bounces on that. Coming back to this section, I've replaced these little rollers. There were some little tiny ones in here that were side rollers. They were also going to be damaging the boat, so I've replaced it with a block of wood with a skid on top. And then that there is not really for, getting the boat onto the trailer, it's for transportation. So when the boat's on the trailer, it sits perfect on top of that. And I've added these tie down points on each side. So I've welded these in as well. So now I can tie the boat down perfectly on each side and it rests perfectly on there. So there's no rocking in the boat left or right. Everything in the trailer has been painted, just nice and freshened up. Coming back down to the back here, these back sections here underneath, it was looking like it was getting a little bit rusty on the inside. It wasn't to the point like the front where it needed to be fully replaced, but what I have done to get more life out of this is I've welded an L bracket on there. This boat trailer will last for a long time now that it's had some health put back into it. The boat sits on it really well, it tows really well. Everything is really good on this trailer again. It's nice and sturdy and solid again, and it's not going to fall apart on me at the boat ramp. Anyways, thanks for sticking around, guys. I'll catch you on the next part of the project, which is when we get into the actual boat build, which we should have been into, but this trailer threw a spanner in the works. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, legends. Look at that. Like a glove.